What a way to end the 2022 NFL football season. Wow. In a season that was mired in people thinking it was rigged, we end with a call like that. Now, guys, I'm going to discuss the overall call, what I thought of it, and then I've probably got about like 20 different screenshots just encompassing the game on Twitter and things like that I'm going to roll through. Now, just looking at the call, my initial thought on 3rd and long, you cannot throw that flag. You simply cannot throw it. This has been an issue more so in college than the NFL. If you are an official, you have to have some game sense to understand when it's 3rd and long, it's got to be egregious. I'm not going to bail out the offense with a tic-tac call that will end and basically ruin the Super Bowl, which is exactly what it did. Now, obviously, if you're a Chiefs fan, you're very happy about this. You win the Super Bowl. Definitely, they're a great team. Mahomes is on his way to being one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. We'll talk about that. But my goodness, this is as ticky-tack can be, and it's not like it's 1st and 10, 2nd and 3. This is 3rd and long. This is a pure bailout, and the second that the flag was thrown, I said, this football game is over. It is impossible unless a crazy thing happens where Harrison Butker misses a 20-yard field goal. The game is over because the Eagles had no timeouts. They tried to let him score, which is exactly what you should do, and it's just a situation where people are going to say it's rigged for Mahomes. They've been saying it all year. I'm kind of just skeptical of it. The reason I would say it's not rigged is mainly because the NFL was setting themselves up for an unbelievable finish, possibly overtime, possibly more money in their pockets in ad revenue. If the game goes longer, it would have been 38-35 with 1:30 left, and Jalen Hurts would have been driving to either tie the game and send it to overtime or straight up win it with a touchdown. Instead, that was it. I mean, I guess you could say in theory, tell the refs, listen, if it's close, let's give Mahomes a call, because the NFL wants Mahomes to replace Brady as being kind of the all-encompassing GOAT with Brady retiring. But either way, guys, I thought it was a terrible call. And then maybe even more surprising, the cornerback James Bradberry that got called for the flag comes out immediately after the game and says, quote, "It was a holding. I tugged his jersey. I was hoping they would let it slide." Now, I've got a few theories on why he would say that. Number one, maybe legitimately that's how he thinks. Maybe that's just his demeanor. Number two, this is probably more likely. I think the NFL probably said, listen, don't say anything here. We're not going to tarnish the Super Bowl and mire this great game in one controversy call. I mean, Roger Goodell, like a week ago, said NFL officiating was in the best place it's ever been, which just completely shocked people due to how bad the controversy's been, giving the Chiefs the extra down, in the last round and things like that. So either way, guys, it's a crazy game. It's a sad ending. It was looking like it was going to be a great game, but that is a call that you cannot make. Again, in my opinion, and this happened more in college, if it is 3rd and long, you have to have an emphasis on the referees. What I think ended up happening, and what ends up happening a lot of times on these 3rd and longs, especially in college, the players are just taught to throw the ball up and hope for a pass interference, and more times than not, they get it, or a holding or whatever. And it's like when it's 3rd and long and you're a referee, you have to understand, let's not bail them out and give them the game, which is, they gave, I don't mean they gave them the game like the Chiefs didn't earn it, but, think about it. If it's 3rd and goal and you throw a flag there, the game is basically over, because they can run the clock down to 10 seconds, and you're relying on them, if you're the Eagles, to miss a 20-yard field goal, which is not going to happen. And it's really interesting to see the evolution of the NFL to where, you get the whole strategy of trying to let them score and you see the Chiefs realize they're trying to let them score, and smartly the Chiefs go down at the 1-yard line because running time off the clock is way more important than scoring a touchdown in that situation. Now, of course, all of us nerds, we love, with the Super Bowl, the new Fox scoreboard, and we see it right there, and oh my goodness, is it so sexy. I would say my only issue with it is maybe it's a touch too thick. I would maybe make it just a tad smaller and squish it down just a touch more. But other than that, I think it's a great scoreboard. The last one they had, I know everyone loved, but this one, if this really is Fox's scoreboard the next 3 years, it is really, really good, in my opinion. And then how about this? The NFL. This was before the game. It says the NFL has spent 2 years preparing the grass for tonight's field at the Super Bowl. 2 years. The grass was grown at a local sod farm in Phoenix. It was installed 2 weeks ago, and the field has been rolled out each morning for daily sunshine, with the total cost being just under $1 million. I don't know how many images of the field being out in the sun we had to see, but it is so hilarious that the NFL puts an overemphasis on the turf, and it ends up being this horrible. It got so bad where kickers were tripping, everyone was falling and slipping. It was real bad. Michigan and TCU in their playoff semifinal game a little over a month ago had a similar problem with this field, but I actually think this might have been a different field if what they're saying is true, because it says they instilled this new field 2 weeks ago specifically for the Super Bowl, and you had Jalen Hurts changing out of his cleats after the first quarter. Pretty much everyone on the Eagles was changing. It was crazy. I thought this was a funny photo going around on social media. This is on a plane, and you can see everyone's got the Super Bowl on except for one person in the middle. It's just like you never think of being on a plane during the Super Bowl. That's got to be an interesting experience, Here is Patrick Mahomes' current resume. At the age of 27, two-time Super Bowl champion, two-time Super Bowl MVP. I want to talk about the MVP. Nick Bolton. Could you imagine if Nick Bolton would have won it? Two-time MVP overall, NFL Offensive Player of the Year, two-time first-team All-Pro, second-team All-Pro, five-time Pro Bowler, two-time NFL passing touchdown leader, NFL passing yards leader, and then NFL records career passer rating, minimum 1,500 attempts, career playoff passer rating, minimum 150 attempts, total yards by a quarterback in a single season, passing touchdowns in a single postseason. So Patrick Mahomes right now, a lot of people wondering, can he be the GOAT? I think he certainly can be. He's not going to have to match Brady in terms of rings, but he's probably going to have to get within one. And the fact that he already has 2 rings at the age 27 season, he's going to have to keep compiling these seasons together, no doubt about it. But at this point, Mahomes is certainly on a trajectory to be the best quarterback in league history, or at least minimum a top 3 or top 4 quarterback. He's also had such an advantage in terms of when he's entered the NFL, the emphasis on offense compared to when Brady and Drew Brees and Peyton Manning entered the NFL. His stats are going to be light years in front of all those guys because it's just a different league. The NFL wants more offense. They want more passing. They want more scoring. His career passer rating is going to be so much better than Tom Brady's, than Peyton Manning, because both of those guys' career passer ratings are really hampered down by the early years. Brady playing in 2002, 2003, 2004, same with Peyton. They did not put up good numbers. They were young. It was a defensive-minded league. Eagles play the Chiefs in Kansas City during the 2023 regular season, so the NFL could opt for a Super Bowl rematch on Thursday night, and I would definitely think that will be the case based off of how good this game was, how competitive it was. We will probably get, I think the schedule comes out in April, but before that, you'll get the primetime games coming out sometime in March maybe, and we will hear that the Eagles will kick off the NFL season in Kansas City on Thursday Night Football. And we've got Jackson Mahomes, of course, doing a TikTok. I mean, dude, at what point, I don't want to rip on this kid because Everyone likes different things, I guess, but like, is this like a phase that you grow out of with this, where you dance in front of I don't get it, man. I really don't. Roger, this was a little weird thing. That's Chris Jones hugging Roger Goodell, Rapunzel style, with Chris Jones, the big defensive tackle. He's a really elite player, one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL. Didn't do much during the Super Bowl, but you can see lifting Roger Goodell up, celebrating. I'm sure that got Eagles fans real happy with, the whole idea of the call on James Bradberry. Looking at the overall stats of the game, I mean, Philadelphia, third down, 11 of 18. Kansas City was getting outgained. I saw, like, Patrick Mahomes early third quarter. It was just weird. He was not on the field at all in the first half. He had 13 total pass attempts early in the third quarter. The total yardage was actually a lot more severely lopsided in the Eagles' direction. And it is rare to see a team score 38 points but only generate 340 yards of total offense. The overall win probability, the Eagles, I mean, for as much as they were in control of this game, it never got over like 76%. Looks like early third quarter they were at 76%. But the Chiefs did a good job of really just staying within shouting distance throughout the entire game. And then we've got Nick Bolton. Imagine if that second touchdown, the scoop and score by Nick Bolton, imagine if that play would have stood. How pissed off would Mahomes fans be if Nick frickin' Bolton would have robbed Mahomes of a Super Bowl MVP? I mean, you would have to give it to Nick Bolton. If you have 2 defensive touchdowns in the Super Bowl, you got to be the defensive MVP. And you can see communist Andy Reid. Nick Bolton, you were robbed of history. No, but dude, I just searched up Nick Bolton, and you know how on Twitter it autofills, and the first thing it autofilled was Nick Bolton robbed. I was rooting for him to win the MVP, but I mean, he had like 9 tackles, and he had the defensive touchdown, but he needed the other one to get the MVP for sure. We've got some Super Bowl commercials. So the whole thing on the Super Bowl commercials, it's been the number one trend to call Super Bowl commercials bad. It probably started like 5 years ago, where everyone's like, you'll get like so many tweets about it. Who remembers when Super Bowl commercials used to be good? Super Bowl commercials suck now. And I agree. Normally the Super Bowl commercials are a letdown. We've got Logan Paul and KSI, Prime Hydration. Guys, like, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't one of these cost $2? Like, let's call this what it is. It's a rich white kid's drink. That's what, like one of these things is like $2.09. Like, look, it's probably good, whatever. I've never had it. It's just, I see it all the time. It's annoying. And it wouldn't be the Super Bowl without a fake Super Bowl meltdown. I got to give this dude credit for sacrificing a big screen TV. Normally, they go into the garage and get some 24-inch piece of crap. They're sacrificing. That's a big investment to make in terms of, faking having a meltdown. I give him credit. I hope he gets enough views that it was worth it, but it's always fun to see those. And then I'll end it on this. The Super Bowl odds for next year. The Chiefs being the favorite. Of course, we know how hard it is to repeat. The Buffalo Bills listed at number 2. Philadelphia, Cincinnati, and San Francisco end out the top 5. I will go ahead and take a stab and say the Los Angeles Chargers will win the Super Bowl. How do you like that? Plus the 2,000 right there. But guys, overall, very good game. Unfortunate ending. You can't totally blame it on one call, because Kansas City did come back. Mahomes was injured there, and he played through the injury. But still, in that situation, that much of a ticky-tack call, it just sit on a third down, on a third and long, that cannot be a flag. It just can't. It has to be more egregious than that. You have to let these guys fight it out. I know technically you could throw a flag there, but what people that normally don't watch the NFL have to realize, you could find holding on every single play. There's certain points in the game where you have to let the players play. And yes, I mean, James Bradberry admitting that, I guess you give him credit, but I'm also very skeptical. Again, I think the NFL probably told James Bradberry, listen, we don't want this game to be mired in controversy. We know Philadelphia fans are very mad right now. We don't want you stoking the fire and saying, oh, it's ridiculous. How is that a flag? Go out there, take one on the chin. Maybe they'll give him a little bonus or something behind the scenes for doing that and saying that the NFL made the right call there, because this has been an ongoing issue with the NFL and people accusing it of being rigged. And I've said, personally, I don't think it is, but when you see stuff like this, it does get a little hairy to where maybe Goodell is saying, listen, if the game is close, let's make sure Mahomes gets another one. With Brady retiring, we need a new GOAT. We need a new box office guy. But again, you would think the NFL would want that to not be a flag, so you would have Jalen Hurts driving possibly to kick a field goal or to win, and the game gets even more epic. So either way, guys, just a fun thing to look at in terms of the overall game. You can see Super Bowl controversy. I'm sorry, but I don't like that call. Controversy flag there. LeBron sounding off on it. I don't like that call. He tweeted about it. Terrible call. What they're saying about Super Bowl and the penalty. So guys, either way, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.